Hello all, this is Dr. Dave Maslach talking to you about reciprocity.com. The E is written with a 3, and in this particular video I want to talk to you about PhD motivation and having an enthusiasm for learning during your PhD journey or as a researcher. So if you don't know me, I'm an associate professor of innovation strategy and entrepreneurship, and I created this whole reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can. There were so many people that helped me out that I wanted to pay the favor forward and help you out. So one of the most amazing things that we have as scholars, as researchers, as PhD students, as graduate students, as professors is that we can study anything that we really want to study, right? And we get the opportunity to do this. This is the whole autonomy of being able to do anything that you really want to do, and nobody's going to ask questions about why you're doing that particular thing. The problem is, and this is the challenge, is that most of us don't really stop and ask why we're doing the things that we're actually doing. And I think this is the reason why we actually run into a lot of issues with PhD motivation, and where we all struggle. We all go through these moments where we feel depressed. It's a real struggle to do anything. We don't know really what we want to do. We can't get up in the morning. We all go through these experiences. And I think the biggest reason why we actually go through this is we haven't sort of figured out the why we're actually doing these things, right? So I don't know if you've ever read Simon Sinek or watched some of his videos. They're really good in terms of motivational sort of speaking, but really is a big part of what he does is sort of points out that in order to do things in life, we don't necessarily need to start with the how or the what or anything like that, but we need to start with why we're actually doing something. And once we figure out why we're actually doing something, then it becomes a lot more fun and a lot more easier. So for me, for this whole reciprocity project, I'm doing research and stuff like that on a regular basis. And I thought, a few years ago, actually it's probably like 4 years ago or 5 years ago now, I was like, well, why can't I build a system such that it makes it a lot more easier for myself to actually do writing? I struggle with it. It's really difficult for me. And, why can't I create some sort of fun system to do that kind of thing? So I created this whole website. That's what reciprocity.com is. And I got crickets. So I started doing these YouTube videos and realized that the ones that really resonated with people were stuff about the PhD journey, and mostly about struggling with the motivation that we have and the sort of difficulties that we have as PhDs, as scholars, and all of the sort of mess that we all deal with, right? And every one of us has dealt with these issues before, that we often have depression, things like that. And I began to realize that, a lot of us need something like this, and it's not just the whole platform part of it, right? Like, that's not it. But these videos are really helpful for a lot of people. So that is becoming my why, is, giving you motivation just to keep you going. And I think, what's really cool with this, it makes me more excited about doing research. It makes me more excited about doing this, the whole reciprocity project, because I know that there's other people that are really, they're stalling out. And if they don't get these videos, then, they might actually leave academia. And that, that's a good thing for them, or for some of us to actually leave academia. I'm not opposed to that in any sort of sense. I'm actually a big proponent of going into industry. But, if you can do this, and if you can keep going, I'm going to do everything I possibly can to keep you going, right? So that it's become my why in order to keep you motivated with this. And there's nobody else that's doing this, right? That's the crazy thing. If I can keep you motivated, that means that science is actually going to become better, because you're going to be able to write and publish the thing that you're actually doing. That there's so much to it that we all struggle with, right? So, I really want you to think about why you're doing the things that you're actually doing, and, take some time at doing that. And then the other thing to realize is that a lot of stuff we do in academics is kind of exploratory. So what does that mean in terms of exploratory? Well, that means that you might not actually have any sort of results from doing the thing that you're doing. So if you spend a fair bit of time, maybe it's 6 months doing something, and you go in a different direction, and then it just all falls apart. Well, just realize that it's not a waste of time. You've actually built a tremendous amount of knowledge about that particular area, and maybe some point in the future you can leverage that, right? So most of the papers that we all work with, if you haven't figured this out, as you know, especially if you're early on in your journey, you know, if you're a full professor, you kind of get this because you know you've had this experience, but you have worked on stuff and it just didn't pan out for whatever reason, and then you put it to the side, and then you work on something else, and then maybe it is 5 years later you can pull back and come back to that knowledge that you were going in that other direction and revitalize it because you found new data, or you found a different co-author or something that all came together. And we have all of these kind of exploratory paths, and we can't sort of explain why they happen, but it's extremely common for us. So don't feel bad if anything like that has happened to you, right? The other thing is to write down as you're going through your journey and thinking about the struggles that you have in terms of the motivations that you have. I want you to actually just write down all of this stuff. Just use this. So a good analogy or a good way to think about doing your PhD journey, it's really just diarying. Writing a diary about your entire life. And as you're exploring at different things, you just write, a couple of pages. It shouldn't be daunting in any sort of way. A PhD journey, when you're doing research, should not be painful. I've since learned that, early on for a long time, for many years, I thought that it was really a painful journey and stuff like that. And it was difficult to write. But I'm becoming more excited about it as I'm doing this, and it's becoming a lot more of a joy because you can just be yourself, and you can write things as you go, and as you sort of figure this out, that it's really this exciting journey of exploring in different directions. It's all right to do these things, right? And that's the thing that you should be realizing. It's a very personal journey, and you're going into all different directions. But just realize it becomes really fun once you start embracing that, and not realizing that it's a waste of time. That it's painful and things like that. But I want to point out a couple of things before we go, because this is really important in terms of PhD motivation. Doing research is about persistence, right? So when you stall on something, or something just doesn't work, you've worked on it for 5 years and it stalls, go back to those projects in 5 years after, right? Keep coming back to those. You actually gain a tremendous amount of value from that, because it is about this persistence. Nobody in academia is bright. I've met a few bright people, and they're extraordinary, right? So there are a lot of bright people in academia, but there's a lot of people that are like us, that are totally normal, that, I was in special ed until I was about grade 5. I grew up in the middle of nowhere, 4 hours from any university. Nobody went into academics. We didn't have a lot of money growing up. All of that kind of stuff, right? This is a normal story in academia for many of us, that, and I'm dealing with normal things, right? I have a family, I got kids, and, all these different obligations. All of that stuff is totally normal. Nobody is extraordinary in academia, but it's the ones that continuously keep persisting. If you fall down and you have a rejection, or it just doesn't work out for you, just get back up again and do it again. And then if you fall down again and it doesn't work out for you, just get back up again and do it again. Just constantly be doing that. That's what academia is about. It's not about the fact that, everything is going to come together and it's going to work really easily. No, it's this exploratory journey where you're going into different directions and things just don't work out for whatever reason. There's many different reasons why things don't work out. And then you get up and you get back out there and you keep doing that time and time again. And that's how you're actually going to succeed in academia. So right now, if you're watching this video, and you're just really struggling with motivation, do that. Just get back to doing your thing, and you will succeed at academics. All right, so take care. Have a wonderful day, and looking forward to seeing you on the next video. Bye. Oh, give me a thumbs up if you like it. Bye.